Hello, my name's Nancy Angus and welcome to Friendly Giants Showcase here on Shaw Spotlight. Today I'm really excited to again introduce you to one of our giants. And again, if you need a reminder, GIANT stands for Grand Individuals Aging with Neighbors in Thunder Bay. And I'm happy to be here with Diana Plump. Hi, Diana.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Great, great. Thank you again for coming in and talking a little bit about your life experience. And you were one of our original 10 giants that took part in a digital video storytelling project.
Yeah.
And here, who would have thought, Diana, 3 years later, you're still part of the project?
I thought I was just going to learn how to do a movie. I didn't realize, that I would also be a TV star.
I know, that's right. So an Emmy could be in your future.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course. So Diana, one of the things that we talk about, I know that you're semi-retired and you're driving now a courtesy vehicle, but when you were back in your day when you were working full-time, one of your jobs was that of a cook.
Yes.
And you cooked for many, many people.
Yes, at the hospital.
So those skills that you learned cooking in a professional kitchen or an industrial kitchen, are those things that you can apply to your life now with just cooking for two people?
Yeah, because cooking is cooking. You just, I have to say you, but I mean me, I have to learn to modify the amounts. I'm not too good at that yet. I think I'm still cooking for 500 a meal.
Yeah, 2 people, 500 people, how do you do it? So I know that you have a freezer at your place.
I have 2.
2 freezers in your home in Murillo. And what advice would you give to seniors out there that are living and maybe cooking just for themselves or for another person? What are some of the tips that you would give them?
Well, I think that if you're going to be making soups and stews and stuff, you could freeze them. And if it's just you, maybe when you freeze them, get portions for one person, like, the containers, for either 1 or 2 meals, because you don't want to be eating the same soup, day in and day out. You're going to get pretty sick of it. And the same with any of the meals. You can cook a little bit ahead and freeze them. 1 chicken breast instead of 5, It's harder to cook for one, and a lot of people can't be bothered.
And that's one of the things that you find more and more is that you go to the grocery store, things are kind of presented in great big packages.
Yeah.
But if you take those things home and divide them up right away and put them in your freezer, perhaps that's an easier way to
Oh,
cope with it.
absolutely. I do that all the time. And I rotate everything and I mark everything, also where I bought it from.
Okay.
Like the store that it came from. It's a habit I've just gotten into, and it makes a big difference when you're digging around in the freezer and you say, oh, well, I can't use that one. It's 5 years old already.
Not really 5 years old.
No,
Yeah, I know what you mean. And that's really important to kind of, so you have, do you label things with you put things in a Ziploc bag and then label them with a magic marker?
Yes,
or
that's exactly what I do. Nice and simple.
Nice and simple. And that's important because people want variety when they're eating too, right? It's not, you do get bored.
Yes.
But if you do like a big batch of cooking and then freeze it up right away, and what about maybe inviting a friend to share that cooking experience with you?
Well, instead of making a big pan of lasagna, I'll do several loaf pans. A loaf pan serves both my husband and I, and often extra. So we have a little bit to snack on or whatever, and then you're not wasting a huge pan of lasagna, which of course you can't do without.
Well, my sister once said in Toronto when they had their power outage that one summer, that everybody had to get rid of things that were in their freezer quickly. And she said it was this great big block party where everybody got together, emptied out their freezers,
What a good idea.
and put the barbecues out and warmed everything up. And it was a fabulous, making a good thing out of a bad situation.
That's
but
right.
again, sharing that food that you might have in your freezer with someone is important to do.
I love having company. I don't have as much as I used to for cooking, but then I feel justified in making more, But I like to feed people who enjoy eating. I don't like fussy people. I don't have time for that. If you don't like it, don't eat it. But I don't want to hear about it.
Well, and that's probably goes back to your industrial cooking days, right? So you're cooking for a lot of people. There was something that people could find to enjoy in their meals.
That's
but
right.
also color, I think, is important too, right?
Oh,
you
big
have
time.
to make things look pretty.
Yes, and I've always felt that way, but it's only been in the last while, I don't know, 5, 10 years, where color has become more important because they're finding out about antioxidants and things like that, that you really do need all the variety of color. But I've always done it because I think it's pretty.
And that's a
Yeah.
simple way of doing it.
Yeah.
Just mix up the different colors, and there you've got
And
it on your
looks
plate.
more pleasing.
Looks more pleasing to the eye. You
Yeah.
don't want an all-white dinner.
No, no, it's so boring. I don't want boring.
No boring. I know that's definitely not in your vocabulary. So, and I know you're baking at our Giants Castle event. You've done all the cookies for that event. So I
Yeah.
know you love to bake. You like to do some catering, and
Yes.
you're always stretching yourself to learn new things. Correct?
That's right. It's I used to be afraid of change, but now I embrace it. It's just fun, to learn new things, to try new things.
Great. I know that's a great motto to live by. So thank you, Diana, again for sitting here with me again and chatting a little bit. And thank you for being part of our Giants movement. I think we're starting some great things in Thunder Bay just by getting seniors to share suggestions for other seniors. So thank you for doing that with me again today.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, Nancy. Thank you.
And I'm going to, from one giant, we're going to introduce another giant, which you remember quite well. Razi was one of our original 10 giants.
That's
Razi
right.
Ahmed was one of the original 10 giants in our project. And back in 2017, we got together and 10 giants, including Razi, Diana,
Yes.
got together and pulled a short video segment together, what we call digital stories. And it's my pleasure now to share the story by Razi Ahmed, and this is Razi's giant story.
I always made myself available in others' help. I used to help vaccinating people when I was a boy. I even helped my younger brothers and sisters with their homework. When I was an undergraduate student, my grandfather fell ill. He was unconscious for more than a week and then died. When he was sick, we had to buy a number of bags of saline to inject. One of them was left over. When a poor neighbor of ours had cholera and was about to die, and there was no doctors or medicine around the village, I went to see the ailing person and did not find her pulse, but her body was warm and she was still breathing. So I ran home, brought that saline bag, and set up an IV for her. By the morning, she moved and opened her eyes. It was amazing that I had saved her life. I always liked to do anything that helped others. I have learned to give and never expected anything in return. I moved to Canada because my youngest daughter wanted me to. I had nothing to do here and was trying to find an opportunity to be of service. So now I happily help out with my grandchildren and am volunteering at Thunder Bay Multicultural Association, working with the Syrian refugees, teaching them English and supporting them in their new lives. I can relate to them because I was once new here myself, and they connect with me because of that too. I do really like my life here in Canada. I'm happy to be near my daughters and grandchildren, but I very much miss my home and my family back there, which I really love. It is very likely that I eventually will go back to my home country, but so long I am here, I will continue to do the work I enjoy, helping others.
Thanks so much, Razi. That was a fabulous opportunity to see him again. And since Razi does not live in Thunder Bay anymore, he is now living in Scarborough. So through the magic of technology, we've been able to connect with Razi again. And I did an interview with him a couple of weeks ago, and we'd like to air that little interview with Razi and myself here on Shaw Spotlight. Good morning, Razi.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. How are you keeping?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Good.
We miss you here in Thunder Bay.
I also do. I miss everybody, each and everybody, and Thunder Bay overall.
We just showed your video, Razi, and
Yes.
I wanted to know, you talk about volunteering at the Thunder Bay Multicultural Association, and why did that mean so much to you when you were in Thunder Bay?
I loved that work because all my life I loved to stand beside any people who need, any person who needs. So I went there, I taught there, I gave company, and I tried to fill them at home. Mostly they were Syrian refugees.
Yes, from
So-
Syria, yes.
Yeah. So they needed some mental support too. At least I could give that.
And Razi, you
I
have
like that. I enjoyed it.
I know you really enjoyed working with you. And since now the reason you're not in the Shaw studio is that you have moved from Thunder Bay. You now live in Scarborough, correct?
Yes, right.
And one of the things about making a home wherever you are, your quote that you have on your poster is about making you can't sell a house, you can't sell a home, you can only sell a house. So what does
Yes.
home mean to you wherever you are?
Home is a house that is filled with love.
I think that's all.
Everything, every shelter where you can live is a house. So even if you where you can keep some stuffs like a store and all that, that is also a house. But a home must be filled with love. That is a house filled with love.
A home is a house filled with love.
House is filled with love.
A house that's filled with love. That's what we can all hope for, no matter where we live, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I told that home cannot be sold.
A home cannot.
You can sell a house, but you cannot sell a home. Home, when you occupy a house and you fill it with love, with affection, with sympathy, empathy, everything.
And Razi, when you were in Thunder Bay, you were part of our Giants project, and you're still a giant in our eyes, even if you don't live in Thunder Bay anymore.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of friends here that wish you and Habiba the best in Scarborough. And, if you ever do come back to visit, you've got lots of friends that will welcome you with open arms to their home.
So thank you very much. Thank you. I love to hear that. I love to hear that.
So in other words, if any of us go to Scarborough, maybe we can catch up with you there.
Sure. Just give me a message and I'll be there.
Great.
I'll pick you up.
What is the difference? What's it like to live in a big city again compared to Thunder Bay?
Oh, I don't like Toronto or Scarborough. I like Thunder Bay better than this. But unfortunately, I live with my daughter. She moved, so I had to move.
And that's what a lot of us do. Yeah, when we get older, family is really important, and sometimes it's, as you say, you make the most of where you are, and you continue with your family to build a home with love. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So thank you so much, Razi. Is there anything else you want to say to us here in Thunder Bay?
Oh, I love Thunder Bay, and I love my friends. Please convey my greetings to all of them. My best wishes.
Thanks.
And take care. Live well. Keep well.
Live well and keep well. I think that's a really good message. So thanks again, Razi, for this. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Nancy Angus, and welcome back to Friendly Giant Showcase here on Shaw Spotlight. That was fabulous to just hear Razi's voice again, and I think his motto of live well, be well is something that all of us can aspire to. And Razi, we miss you in Thunder Bay, and I also have some fabulous news to report in that Razi told me that on October the 1st, he and his wife will become Canadian citizens, and that's pretty exciting. So congratulations to Razi. And our Giants community is right behind you 100%. Now, speaking of Giants, I have another person who's worked behind the scenes on the Giants project here in Thunder Bay, and welcome Joanne Porter.
Thank you, nice to be here.
Joanne, tell me how you got involved first in the Giants project and how you got kind of brought into this experience.
I think it started with my move back to Thunder Bay when I was 60 and trying to get to know my community. I became aware of Age-Friendly Thunder Bay and some of the public meetings that were being held and the strategic discussions around what our community should look like. And being that I'm part of that community, I wanted to hear what others had to say, but I also want to make some contributions of my own.
Great. And one of the projects that you did get involved with was the Giants. And I know that you helped in 2017 behind the scenes getting some of our brave souls to step forward and actually do the digital video telling, which is not an easy thing to do. Put yourself out there, learn how to do digital storytelling, and also share your story. So thank you for that.
Yes, it was actually quite enjoyable for me to see people who were my friends, who I recognized as potential giants, come to life to tell their stories, and I've enjoyed watching the stories over and over again for the messages they each can share.
And one of the projects that our Giants events have been really kind of gearing up to is having a big event called the Giants Castle, which is about aging, making your home age ready. So things that you can do in your house so that you can continue to live there comfortably and beautifully.
Yep.
And one of the projects that you've been involved in is talking about solo housing. And that's one of the things that you were chairing a group of people on stage to talk about that. So what are some of the tips that you might be able to share with people who are living alone?
Yeah. Well, I think what I find is, and my tendency is to listen to what people are saying and find if my situation matches that. And what I did find is there are a lot of people living alone. And my curiosity was around how do they manage certain things in their house. And I guess the central theme I kept hearing was make a list of what you need, keep it handy. And that matched very nicely with the theme within the Giants project of Team of 8. So keep your list and find people to help you and ask your friends, ask your neighbors. One of the members on our solo panel would add to that. Look in your community and see who's doing the work if you need that extra bit of help, and go and ask the fellows that are working on the job.
And that's really important, is to feel comfortable. Just if you see somebody doing something in your neighborhood, and ask the person who owns the house, or ask the person that's actually doing the work.
Yep.
Usually they'll have a card or something that they can share with you, and you know that they're close by. And one of the other tips I heard from someone was saying that if you get a group of neighbors together, perhaps you can approach one of the grass cutting services or snow shoveling services, and maybe if there's a few neighbors within a short or a small vicinity of each other, perhaps you could get a discount. So it's worth going for those kinds of things.
Ask and don't be afraid to reach out to say what you need.
And the other one idea that I remember talking to you about is one of the volunteer aspects of this project that you've been helping us with is you've been doing individual phone calls to people to invite them to. Over the past 6 months, we've had tea talks where we've gotten together once a month at a library to chat and drink tea and catch up. But you've been making some of those phone calls. So what's it been like to phone people and invite them to something?
Well, I was happy to take this part of the project on. I do some volunteer work with 55 Plus in their support service program, and I realized the benefit of reaching out by phone call is just as important as that face-to-face call. So the calls that I've been making have resulted in voices that you hear over the phone of, oh, thank you for calling, my phone doesn't ring often. Gee, I have this, would you like to know about this idea that I'm working on? And so people are happy to be involved and to contribute. None of the calls have been of people that were, well, what can you do for me? It's more, what can I do to help? And for me, I found that very motivating, and look forward to the next call that I have to make.
And isn't it interesting when we're all, so many people now have their phones in their pocket and so on, and but you're hearing from people who say, please, I like it when you phone me, I like to talk to someone.
Yep.
And so that's, again, a great message I think that our Giants have been able to keep reminding people of in the community. Yeah. You don't have to, make a lot of time to go and visit somebody face to face, even if you can just take on 3 phone calls, 3 numbers of people to call, just informally. It's such a lovely way of kind of brightening someone's day on the other end.
Yeah, exactly. We have a list from the Tea Talks. I think it's now well over 100, and those that wanted phone calls, I found a friend within another group that I enjoy, and they've offered to share the phoning too. So it doesn't have to be arduous beyond in time. It just takes those 2 or 3 calls that you make.
And the importance of volunteering again. So I mean, I know Joanne, Diana, all the work that you're doing behind the scenes for our Giants project to keep this movement going. We call it a positive Giants wave in the community of seniors helping other seniors and learning from each other as we go along. So thank you again for watching the Friendly Giant Showcase here on Shaw Spotlight. Watch for us next time, and we'll be back with more Giants in our community. Thanks.